Hello.
Hi everyone, and um, welcome to Wednesday Meditation Gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. Meditation gathers in power and strength when we meditate together. This week, Lia Steinson will lead us into meditation. Then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we're going to open it up for sharing, and we'll end at 10:45. So you're all on mute now. Or if you're not on mute, please put yourself on mute. And over to you, Lia.
Good morning, everybody. It's really lovely to be here again to be sharing with you. And I don't even see everybody, but most people, and that's really nice. I'd like to feature today or focus today on lesson 155. I will step back and let him lead the way. So I'll just plant that there. But before I talk any further about it, I'd like to do my prayer with you. It's not mine, it's actually Marianne Williamson's prayer. Thank you for this day, because I love it so much. And I try other prayers and I always return to this. I'd like to say it line by line so that you can say it either out loud or in your head as we go. And you can feel that strength of the prayer then, because we're all saying it together. So I'd like you to close your eyes too and just feel the prayer deep in your heart. Dearest God, thank you for this new day, its beauty and its light. Thank you for my chance to begin again, dreaming from the limitations of yesterday. Today, may I be reborn. May I be more fully a reflection of your radiance. Give me strength and compassion, courage and wisdom. Show me the light that is available in everyone. Please lead me into gentle pathways and give me deep peace, that I might serve you most deeply. Maybe keep your eyes closed a moment, just feel that willingness to serve, the willingness to see the goodness, the light, the wonder in each other, return to knowing we are one. When you're ready, just take a deep breath and bring yourself back. So, this wonderful lesson, I will step back and let him lead the way. I'm going to read a little of it, not all of it, because it's too long for the amount of time allowed. But I wanted to highlight that I'm not just going to focus on the leading, him leading us. I'm also going to focus on, in a short amount of time, the part that's about stepping back. Because I think the focus is usually on we're being guided, we ask for guidance, we're shown the way. But we don't always look at what it means to actually step back, to relinquish the ego. Because if we're trying to allow ourselves to be led, to follow the deep guidance within us, but we haven't also remembered to keep working on this stepping back, then it produces a conflict inside of us. So I'm going to read a little bit of this lesson, and then I'm going just to talk a little bit about what it means to step back. Okay. So lesson 155, I will step back and let him lead the way. There is a way of living in the world that is not here, although it seems to be. You do not change appearance, although you smile more frequently. Your forehead is serene. Your eyes are quiet. And the ones who walk the world as you do recognize their own. Yet those who have not yet perceived the way will recognize you also and believe that you are like them, as you were before. The world is an illusion. Illusion still appears to cling to you, that you may reach others. Yet it has stepped back, and it is not illusion that they hear you speak of, nor illusion that you bring their eyes to look on and their minds to grasp. Nor can the truth, which walks ahead of you, speak to them through illusion, for the road leads past illusion now. Along the way you call to them, that they may follow you. We walk to God. Your feet are safely set upon the road that leads the world to God. Look not to ways that seem to lead you elsewhere. Dreams are not a worthy guide for you who are God's son. Forget not, he has placed his hand in yours and given you your brothers in his trust that you are worthy of his trust in you. He cannot be deceived. His trust has made your pathway certain and your goal secure. You will not fail your brothers nor yourself. And now he asks but that you think of him a while each day, that he may speak to you and tell you of his love, reminding you how great his trust, how limitless his love, in your name and in his own, which are the same. We practice gladly with this thought today. I will step back and let him lead the way, for I would walk along the road to him. I find that so moving and beautiful, and I'm sure you do too. It's funny with the lessons and the text, all of that. It doesn't matter how many times you read it, it's always new and beautiful and fresh. And the amazing thing for me is there seems to be things now that weren't there before. It's rather wonderful. But just a few moments, I want to focus on, as I said to you, this thing about stepping back. What does stepping back mean? And I'm guided into that a little from lesson 268, let all things be exactly as they are. And I see this stepping back is part of the work of forgiveness. As the years go by, I see how vast forgiveness is. You know, when we start out on forgiveness, we think somebody did something wrong, and because we're doing our spiritual work, we forgive them. And then, of course, it expands and expands over the years till we realise we're just raising our gaze to the light beyond. We're actually practicing for when we really get it, that this world doesn't exist at all. So the stepping back for me is transcending reaction. Reaction is nearly always judgment. But let's just for a moment think, okay, this stepping back, could it be that instead of seeing myself as in the center of my own dream, my own drama, that I actually, in a symbolic or perhaps I don't know what it is, but I know in a kind of visualization within myself, I see myself instead of in the middle of the drama, the middle of the dream, and stepping back, actually stepping back until there I am looking at the world, looking at myself in the world and all the people and the stuff going on, and knowing that, really knowing that it's a dream. So that's what I'm, suggesting to you today that you reflect on, in order to really let yourself follow, to be led along the path back to him. Step back from this dream, step back from the drama. Know that each of us has a subtly different illusion. We have different ways of seeing. There's no one illusion, but we need to step back, look at it with the eyes of a witness, not the eyes of somebody who's completely involved in it. And as we learn, I think too, with everything that seems to be happening in our dream, to just look at it with calm, with gentleness, with kindness, with forgiveness and love. We just allow it to fade. We allow it to be what it really is, a dream. And bit by bit, our dream evolves into what the Course tells us about the happy dream. We move from when we first start to awaken from this place of fear and that deep shock when we first really realize what the world looks like. But as we change within us, as we accept, as we allow things to be, as we transcend reaction, as we forgive, and we look with these gentle eyes of love, the world we see changes. And I'm saying that because that's what I have experienced over perhaps the last 20 years. My world now looks mostly very, very beautiful. There's still things like people get sick and die, and things happen that I see that are tragedies for lots of people, and sometimes, very challenging for myself. But when you step back, you move through these things in a different way. They're not so deeply tragedies. They're simply stuff of the dream, and you can grieve or feel upset or feel whatever you feel and move through it quickly and return to peace. And in that place, you are so capable of following the guidance of the Holy Spirit, of taking the hand of Jesus, or knowing that you're returning home to God. So that leads us, I think, now into our meditation. I think my time is quite reasonable today. So what I'd like you to do is to close your eyes, to take 1 or 2 deep breaths. And it's really important, I think, in meditation for most of us to have some kind of focus. If we simply say we're just going to sit here in peace, the mind is so determined to think. The frontal lobes, in scientific terms, the frontal lobe of our brain, its job is to think, and it never stops. We've got 16 hours at least a day in which we're thinking, and the ego constantly wants to take it over. So I think it's really helpful to choose something to say in meditation, to gently repeat as a mantra that keeps us focused in the spirit. And why not use the lesson that we've got here? I will step back and let him lead the way. What I suggest is you work with it with your breathing. So you might say, I will step back as you breathe in and let him lead the way as you breathe out. Just see if you can fit the words to your breath. If you feel yourself, getting into a deep silent place and you no longer need to say anything, you're just experiencing oneness, that would be absolutely fabulous. Don't make yourself continue. But it's my suggestion that you're aware of your breathing. You're aware of what's happening in your senses, like the sound of cicadas and birds here. That's happening now. If you're here now, fully present in your senses, that will keep you in that healing space of coming home to God. Well, maybe try that today. I will step back as you breathe in and let him lead the way as you breathe out. And let your breathing take you. Go deeper into your heart, deeper into one. And when the time comes to return from your meditation, I'll play 3 notes on the Tibetan bell. And you just come back quietly in your own time.
Open your eyes slowly. Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have about 15 minutes left for sharing your comments and your questions. If you'd like to speak, please use the reactions button at the bottom of your screen, and I'll take you off of mute. And that way I can see everybody who wants to speak. And if you'd like to ask Lia a question or comment in confidentiality, please put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Terry, would you like to ask a question or comment?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Morning, Lia.
Good morning.
Thank you for that. It's lovely to hear the birds as a backdrop to you. You know, when you hear them, you don't have to speak. You can just, it's just, I'm sure you know what I mean. Anyway, it ties in with what you've led us into this morning, and allowing ourselves to be led, if you like, humbling ourselves, emptying ourselves. And it aligns with the idea that we all have a special function, doesn't it? And that if we allow ourselves to be still enough, we can come to discern if we're on the right path, if you like, if we are embarking upon our own particular special function, and accepting and honoring that special function, because it is an honor to have a particular function in the world where we can help to bring people home, just as we have brought home in our meditations, if you like. Would you agree with that, Lia?
Yes, I tend to think of it in terms of service. That's always something that's very strong in my heart. Ever since I first read the prayer in the text that I often quote, I am here only to be truly helpful. And understanding that from another line of that I don't have to worry what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. And that is such a beautiful place of surrender. It does mean we've actually got to do that process of surrendering, because the ego doesn't give up very easily. And it's also very, very good at pretending to be the voice of God, voice for God and the Holy Spirit or Jesus, or it can do anything. So we have to be very careful that we are deeply surrendering. We get to a really silent place where we can actually listen. And this idea of service, for me, goes across everything, really. In every situation, there's a way that I can be helpful, that we can be helpful. There's a way in which we can serve. But we can't know that, coming back to what I was saying at the beginning, unless we've actually gone beyond our reaction. For example, in the situation of the virus, we absolutely haven't got a clue what to do from an egoic standpoint. But if we surrender, if we give that up to God and we ask, how can I be helpful here? What can I do? If anything, we might not be asked to do anything. But when we actually ask for guidance of how we can serve, how we can be truly helpful, that prayer will be answered. And when we actually act upon that guidance, when we act in true service, it makes us so happy. So I think, yeah, that's really wonderful. Thank you, Terry.
Lia, I have a question here. Do you have any tips on when your ego mind starts crowding in with attack thoughts and fear thoughts during meditation?
Yes, forgiveness. When the amazing thing I've discovered is that you can use forgiveness for anything and everything. It doesn't really matter what you forgive. If the Course is teaching us that underneath any upset, there is a need for forgiveness. Sometimes we don't know what what the upset is. We don't know what's going on. But what I do is I just sit there and say, I forgive the voice in my head, I forgive my ego, I forgive this meditation, I forgive this computer. Just that constantly forgiving means that you're just clearing away, because forgiveness is raising your gaze. Now it's releasing your attention on what seems to be going wrong. It just lifts you up. So, but sticking with it is really good. I forgive my ego. I forgive this meditation. I forgive my thoughts. I forgive my mind. You see what I mean? It's such a wonderful thing. You just stick with the forgiveness, and it will gradually clear everything away. And you'll suddenly realise that there you are in peace. So don't bother analysing anything. You don't need to analyse. You don't need to know anything. And you do it anyway. You just need to forgive. What I usually add on from those things is, and I love you. I always feel so good about that. That as I forgive them, so I'm free then to love. So I'll probably say, I love you and I forgive you and I love you. Or I love you and I forgive you. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. And all that beautiful light goes out from your heart, the love and the happiness and the goodness. And whatever is not love will just disappear. And there you'll be having a beautiful meditation. Thank you.
James, I'll take you off of unmute.
Well, yes. I mean, last night I did a workshop with Leah. She probably remembers it. And she said, I remember, Leah, when we did the workshop, you said, think of the worst thing in the world that you could possibly think of that can't be forgiven. La, la, la. So, on la, la, la. Well, yes, yeah, she did. You remember? You was there.
Probably.
Teresa. Yeah, you was all there. And the thing is, last night I was watching Live Aid. They put a whole night of Live Aid on. And we were seeing those pictures from Ethiopia of those children. And there was one small kid, he tried to stand up. He had a hell of a job standing up. And they don't have any food. Now, the same situation is happening all over again in Yemen at the moment, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I think what you're asking me to do, I mean, we all know that this is about my own ego, because you can hear in my voice my ego speaking. You can hear my kind of whatever you want to say. I don't mind it being labeled in my voice. But the thing is the people that are kind of running these wars for whatever reason they believe that they are, their idea, you know, in the end of the day, you know, for example, Great Britain and the USA selling cluster bombs to Saudi Arabia, whatever you want to call it. But these evil, now I would call them, you know, I'm supposed to, I think what you say is I should forgive them and throw my love out to them, but I don't. And the reason I don't is this, because in the Bible, Jesus says, don't worry about them, I'll sort them out. I think this is what he's telling me. Don't worry about them, I'll sort them out. If you hurt little children, I will put a yoke around that guy's neck and they will go to the bottom of the ocean. Now, if it's okay for you, Jesus, what I say to Jesus is this. If it's okay for you to feel like that and you're going to deal with those people, then I can kind of have the same kind of feelings about those people, you know, and that they're going to go to hell in their high place. You know, I can kind of have those thoughts about them. And I don't, and you know, my job on this planet is to kind of think, well, where are you coming from here, Jim? Are those, you know, even Jesus said to one of his disciples, the poor will always be with us. Will they? Okay. So the thing is, does that mean the little starving children are always going to be with us? And we're not supposed to do anything about it? Because this is fantastic, love and everything else. But, you know, I just puzzle about that. Oh, you know, the little starving kids, are they always going to be in misery? Because it seems to me that they haven't even had a chance to live, you know.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. I think what we have to focus on here is what happens when we first hear of or observe or know about things like the starving children in Yemen or wherever. If we are just in our ego, we're going to say this is wrong, something has to be done, we're going to attack. If we're trying our very best to follow the teachings of the Course. What we will do first is forgive, not in a sloppy way. We're not saying, oh, they're there, you know, never mind, don't worry, it'll be all right. You know, we're actually forgiving in order to get to peace. This is so important. You can't ever decide on useful action if you are angry or upset or grieving or fearful or guilty. There is no possibility in that place to decide on right action. So what I'm saying is you get to peace first. You forgive, you raise your gaze, you don't indulge, condone, think it's suddenly all right. You get to peace. And then you say, as I mentioned before, show me what to do here. I'm feeling a lot of pain in this situation. I know in a bigger sense it's an illusion, but it's a very powerful illusion. I'm experiencing pain of compassion, of sadness, of powerlessness. Please show me what to do. This is your only way forward, because otherwise you will act out of upsetness, out of grief and misery and pain. And whatever you do is unlikely to work, because it will be from your ego. So this is really the guidance. You do forgive in the Course's way of forgiving, in order to transcend reaction, to transcend judgment. You get to peace, and then you find out what the voice of God for God tells you to do. He might be telling you, get out there, do something. Yeah, he might. But how do you know? You don't know anything. I didn't know anything. He might be saying, just sit in meditation for an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, and send love and light to this situation. What you can be jolly sure of, if you're sending anger and bitterness, resentment and fear to the situation, you will make it worse. You will simply add to it. You must get to peace somehow or other. Don't try and do anything until you've got to a peaceful place you deeply accept. You allow it to be. Doesn't mean you like it. So that you can be of service, so that you can be used. So that's really the most important guidance that I can give you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lia. Nicola, would you like to ask a question or set comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to share the process I went through in the meditation, which is quite similar to what we're talking about. First of all, I saw a pool of water, like I was splashing around in it, making it muddy, and you couldn't see it very clearly. So if I stepped back, the pool could be peaceful and still. And then I saw, well, actually, I remembered, you know, I'm doing quite a lot of cold water swimming at the moment. So I remembered that I actually like being in the pool, and it made me feel very sensuous and like I could be in the world. So then I saw myself as actually being in the pool, but stepping back, with my awareness was stepping back, like watching his character. And then I saw, well, this is separation actually, so why not join? So then I saw myself joined in the pool, so like embodied, like spiritual embodied, but with that awareness, which is stepping back. And then I saw that that's how you can act in the world, with your awareness, not sort of being contaminated by all your drama, but being connected and in the world and ready to act in like, you know, like a communication device idea. So,
Yes. Wow, that's lovely. I think this kind of visualization or imagery that we get is really powerful. It's much easier to remember that than it is to remember words. And I think that you will continue to hold that in your heart, and it will guide you. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lia. That was a wonderful meditation that you led us through. And everyone take themselves off of mute and send your love to Lia.
Dan.
Hold on one second. Excuse me. Go ahead, Lia.
Dan, I've got one little thing that isn't so little, but it's short, that I want to do at the end, please.
Okay.
Apart from telling you, I mean, I'm sure you all know that I'm doing a workshop on Saturday called Living Abundantly. I'm very excited about that. It's such a wonderful theme. So hope to see some of you there on Saturday, 10 till 1, booked through the Miracle Network. it's only £15. That would be exciting to do. But actually, really to complete, I want to draw attention, because then take 2 or 3 minutes, to the last lesson of the course, of the workbook, which is so beautiful. And just close your eyes a minute and just listen to these words, because it echoes where we started. This holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, but I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. Now keep your eyes closed, because I'm actually going to sing it to you. There's a wonderful thing happened many years ago when I was reading this lesson. I felt guided to sing it, and I thought, well, how do I do that? First, I don't know much about singing, and second, what's the tune? And the Holy Spirit said, don't worry, just open your mouth, get on with it, it'll be fine. That was my interpretation of what he said. So I'm going to sing it to you, because I love it so much. And the tune arrived complete in my mind and heart. This holy instant, this holy instant, would I give to you, would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace.
Thank you, Leah. Okay, everyone take themselves off of mute and send your love to
Bye, Celia.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. I love you.
Bye,
I love you.
Thank you, Leah.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye,
Hi,
Thank you.
Teresa and Dan. Thank you.
Bye,
Care for being
everybody.
here.
I love you.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.